My family chose a cat over my baby shower, and I finally snapped. I spent my life rescuing people who couldn't even bother to show up for me, not even when I was 8 months pregnant and begging for the bare minimum. But the cat party, the stolen money, and the lies they spun about me lit a fuse I didn't know I had. And once it ignited, everything they'd built on my back began to crumble. Hi, I'm Jenna, 29, currently 8 months pregnant, and apparently the world's biggest idiot, because I genuinely believed my family would show up for me the way I've shown up for them my entire life. That delusion shattered the moment my mom looked me dead in the eye and said, "Sweetie, you know Emily's cat's first birthday is important. First babies are special." I wish I were joking. I wish I could laugh and say, "Ha ha, classic mom." But no, she meant it. My sister's Persian cat, Whisker, whose personality can best be described as aggressively beige, was apparently the emotional cornerstone of our bloodline now. I remember just staring at her. Because what do you even say when your mom elevates a cat's birthday above her first human grandchild's baby shower? I said nothing, just nodded like a hostage and went home. 2 weeks later, the day of my shower, a date I'd sent out 3 months in advance. Venue booked, food prepped, decorations up. I even splurged on those stupid balloon letters that deflate if you breathe too aggressively. 6 people showed, 6 out of 47. And while I was sitting there picking at a Costco cake, pretending I didn't notice the empty tables, my phone buzzed. A notification. Someone had posted to Instagram. It was my family. All of them. At Emily's cat party. Whisker, dressed in a pink tutu and tiara, was seated on a literal throne. My mom, aunt, cousins, even Grandma freaking Doris were wearing matching cat ear headbands. The caption under their selfie said, "Celebrating our littlest family member's first birthday. First babies are so important." No mention of my pregnancy. No mention of my shower. Not even a pity text. I sat there in a cafe with my 3 friends, smiling like a woman who wasn't being emotionally abandoned in real time. Then, as if the universe wanted a punchline, my phone buzzed again the next morning. A $2,500 charge attempt on my credit card. For what? A luxury pet photo shoot package. Guess who tried to run it through? Mom. That was the moment something in me turned. Not broke. Turned. Like a lock clicking into a new position. I froze every account they had access to. Changed passwords. Blocked all 3 of them. Mom called 12 times. Emily texted, "Whisker didn't do anything?" And she was right. He didn't. But I did, and they were never going to see it coming. Here's the thing people never believe about me. I was the good one, the helper, the fixer, the family flashlight they only grabbed when they were lost in a mess of their own making. I paid deposits when Dad's credit tanked. I lent Mom $200 for dental surgery that turned out to be Botox. I sent Emily $600 last Christmas for car repairs that later appeared on her thigh as a tattoo of Whisker wearing a tiara. I rescued them financially, emotionally, socially. Holidays, emergencies, last-minute crises. They snapped, I softened. They demanded, I delivered. Until I got pregnant. Then suddenly I became selfish. Secretive, unfair, hormonal. Every time I tried to set a boundary, they acted like I was kicking puppies for sport. And then came the moment everything snapped into focus. 2 weeks before my baby shower, Emily sent me a video. Whisker waddling across a decorated table in a pink tutu, while pastel balloons floated behind him. The caption said, "Can't wait for Whisker's big day. April 6th is gonna be iconic." April 6th, my shower. The day she'd RSVP'd 2 months ago. I texted her, "You know that's my baby shower day, right?" She replied, "Oops, LOL, totally spaced. But it's Whisker's first birthday, Jen. That only happens once." She said it like she just dropped irrefutable scientific truth. I called Mom. She sighed like I was a nuisance. "Jenna, don't start drama. Emily is going through a lot right now." I asked, "What does that have to do with celebrating her cat instead of her nephew?" And she said it. The sentence that proved everything I feared. Whisker is her first baby, too. That was the moment the floor shifted under me. The moment I realized I could scream into this family's vacuum forever and never be heard. But I still didn't cancel my shower. I moved it to a tiny venue, resent invitations, reminded everyone, and 6 people showed. Meanwhile, my entire bloodline was at a cat's birthday party wearing matching tiaras, doing shots, and posting selfies captioned, "1 year of perfection." I tried not to cry, but later, at home, scrolling through their posts, something in me hardened, something permanent. Then the $2,500 cat photo shoot attempt happened, and I froze every account immediately. The fallout was instant. Mom, you embarrassed me. Emily, we were counting on that booking. You owe us an apology. A comment from a fake account on my pregnancy photo. You need 2 fixer priorities before you raise a kid. Emily spelled priorities wrong. But the real earthquake came a week later. I discovered weekly withdrawals leaving my emergency savings, 800 gone, funneled into a PayPal account under the name Grace Wiscom. Grace Whisker Mom. I remembered the day Emily used my laptop to check Pinterest recipes. And that was the second the fuse lit. Because they thought I'd cry, they thought I'd fold, they thought I'd bite my tongue the way I always had. But this time I wasn't crying. I was planning. The restaurant was way too classy for what I was about to do. French bistro, white tablecloths, jazz humming like it was trying to keep the peace. My mom picked it, said we needed a neutral space to heal. I picked the private room. Neutral, yes. Soundproof, absolutely necessary. They arrived 10 minutes late, like it was a power move. Mom in a cream sweater and pearls she definitely didn't pay for. Dad with that disappointed dad posture he likes to weaponize. Emily wearing sunglasses indoors like a hungover celebrity with a victim complex. No hug, no congratulations, no how's the baby. Just 3 people sitting down like we were settling a parking dispute. Mom opened with her signature martyr tone. Jenna, things got out of hand, but you've been cruel. Dad nodded. Blocking your own family. That's not who you are. Emily took a sip of wine and whispered, This whole thing has been devastating. I tilted my head. You mean like trying to use my card to buy Whisker a $2,500 photo shoot? Emily blinked. I already apologized for that. No, I said, placing my phone on the table. You got caught. I tapped twice. A recording filled the room. Emily's voice. Clear, sharp, unmistakable. If Jenna knew how easy it was to pull money from her bank, she'd lose her mind. But she's too busy nesting to notice. Mom froze. Dad froze harder. Emily went sheet white. That was taken out of context, she squeaked. Oh, I said. Here's context. Tap. Another recording. Emily again. She's gonna raise another broken human and expect applause. Sorry your baby shower isn't trending, girl. Dad stared at the table. Mom's fork clattered. Emily looked genuinely nauseous, which, honestly, was a refreshing change for her. You know, I said calmly, I wasn't even planning to play those, but since you keep calling me a liar. I reached into my bag and set something on the table. A hard drive. Emily's hard drive. Her face crackled into panic. Where did you get that? She whispered. You left it at my place after your Vegas trip, I said. Remember when you claimed I hacked you? When you told Mom and Dad you feared for your safety? Funny story. I pulled out a small remote and clicked. The projector screen lit up on the back wall. I had booked the room because it came with one. A folder appeared. Family Jenna fake screenshots. Mom slapped a hand over her mouth. One file at a time, the truth rolled out. Photoshop text messages from me, threatening her. Spliced audio clips of my voice, edited to sound aggressive. A notes document titled, How to Make Jenna Look Irrational If She Turns on Me. Emily lunged. You're violating my privacy. Oh, sweetie, I said. We are way past privacy. Another click. PayPal statements glowed on the wall. $147.92 withdrawn from my account. Then an email from Emily to her friend. Whisker's party is going to bankrupt Jenna and she won't even know until May. Silence. Mom whispered, Emily, no. Emily started crying. Big dramatic sobs she couldn't even commit to properly because her mascara was waterproof. Then I said, we're not done. And the door opened. He walked in. Trevor, Emily's ex. The man she swore was dangerous, unstable, abusive. The man she claimed disappeared after doing something too awful to name. He set a folder on the table. Calm, professional. Inside, his bank screenshots, her messages threatening to ruin him. Evidence he had filed a restraining order against her. Mom crumpled. Dad went silent in that scary way men do when their worldview gets pulled inside out. This is a setup, Emily shrieked. This is harassment. Trevor finally looked at her. You told my job I was unstable. You made TikToks calling me a predator. You sent my baby pictures to strangers. I stayed quiet. Not anymore. Emily shook, mascara tracks streaking down her cheeks. I gathered my things. You once said I was cold, I told my dad. Remember that? For setting boundaries. Just know this. The next time you tell people you have 2 daughters, you're lying. I looked at my mom. You wanted to heal? Start by believing the truth, not the prettiest daughter. Then I turned to Emily, who could barely breathe through her meltdown. You didn't destroy me. You just exposed yourself. And I walked out, past the stunned waiter, past the jazz music pretending nothing had happened, past the people who used to be my family. They thought that was the grand finale. Cute. It was only Act 1. They thought they could regroup, that I'd slink away, cool down, and eventually crawl back into the family role they'd assigned me. The fixer, the buffer, the emotional punching bag. They really underestimated postpartum hormones mixed with righteous fury. Because while they were licking their wounds and rewriting the restaurant scene into some warped tragedy where I was the villain, I did something they never expected. I told the truth publicly. Not explosively, not messily, just clearly. One Saturday morning, I set up my phone in my living room. Neutral lighting, no dramatic music, no tears. Just me, a cup of tea, and my baby's ultrasound photo in a frame behind me. I hit record. A few months ago, I said, my family skipped my baby shower to celebrate my sister's cat's birthday. That was just the beginning. I didn't name them. I didn't show their faces. I didn't embellish a single detail. I laid out the screenshots, the audio, the PayPal withdrawals, the fake threats Emily created, the recording of her laughing about draining my savings. I displayed everything like evidence in a quiet courtroom. At the end, I said, this isn't for sympathy. It's not revenge. It's a warning. Some people will call it love while they drain you dry, and when you finally stop letting them, they'll say you've changed. I uploaded it. I figured maybe a few thousand views. Maybe some support from strangers who'd been through similar things. But by that night, it had 50,000 views. The next morning, 320,000. A week later, 1 million. The internet had chosen violence on my behalf. Comments exploded. My mom skipped my graduation for her dog's spa day. Thank you for telling this. This isn't a family. This is a cult with a cat mascot. Tag. Yourself. I'm Whisker. Girl, save the baby and run. Then came the DMs. Therapists, journalists, content creators, people who'd been emotionally bulldozed by their own families. I started a channel. Posted more videos about boundaries, financial abuse, scapegoat roles. People ate it up. My first merch drop? A simple white hoodie with black text. First babies matter, even human ones. It sold out in 4 hours, and that's when my mom finally resurfaced. She posted a 4-paragraph Facebook essay written entirely in the victim font Tim. It's so sad when one lie destroys a lifetime of love. My daughter is very pregnant and very emotional. Please pray for us in this difficult time. I didn't respond. Emily followed with a TikTok filmed in dramatic lighting, using a crying filter while clutching Whisker like Simba on Pride Rock. Some sisters carry babies, she whispered. Some carry rage. The comments annihilated her. Then, peak comedy. I received a cease and desist letter they clearly wrote in Microsoft Word. No lawyer name, no official formatting. It accused me of emotional slander and creation of a false narrative intended to destroy our public image. I posted that too. Caption: apparently telling the truth is now illegal. Who knew? The internet went feral. If you get sued, blink twice. We'll crowdfund. Emotional slander is my new band name. Tell Whisker to hire an attorney instead of modeling. My views doubled. Brand deals reached out. A maternity skincare line. A baby carrier company. A podcast about estrangement. My DMs overflowed with stories from people who hadn't realized until now that their families were abusive. Not quirky, not dramatic, not just how they are. Abusive. Meanwhile, I built a new life in silence. New apartment. 2 bedrooms, sunlight. A public baby registry. Strangers from around the world sent gifts. And the 184722 is Emily stole. I turned it into a small scholarship fund for single pregnant women starting over. I named it the Whisker Fund. Subheading: because first babies matter. Mom saw the announcement. How do I know? She emailed me from a burner account titled Concerned Mama 42, with the subject line, "You've gone too far." The message simply said, "What happened to privacy and forgiveness?" Privacy she violated. Forgiveness she demanded like a refund. I didn't reply. Then Emily messaged me. I was just hurt. That's why I said those things. Whisker misses you. I replied, good. He's the only one I might forgive. Then I blocked her again. They wanted to play the victim publicly. Fine, but the internet has a remarkable talent. It can smell when someone's lying. And this time, for the first time in my life, I wasn't afraid of the truth. When Leo was born, the room felt too peaceful for the chaos that had led to him. Soft lights, quiet nurses, my best friend holding my hand like she trained for this moment, her whole life. When they placed him on my chest, warm, loud, perfect. Everything inside me unclenched. No cameras, no drama, no family, just us. I didn't tell my parents I'd given birth, didn't text Emily, didn't post a countdown. I wanted one moment in my life that wasn't contaminated by someone else's entitlement. 2 days later, I posted a single photo. Leo's tiny fingers curled around mine. Caption, he's here, and we're safe. It exploded. People from everywhere left messages. Someone crocheted him a lion blanket. Another mailed a children's book titled, When the Village Finds You. I cried for the first time, not from fear, but from gratitude. Meanwhile, my family wasn't handling the silence well. Mom sent a voice note. No congratulations, just, blood is blood. You will regret keeping him from us. I forwarded it to the journalist doing a follow-up piece on estranged grandparents. Figured she'd find it useful. Then came a card with no return address. Inside, he deserves a grandma. Taped to a photo of Whisker wearing a big cousin bandana. I actually laughed. Filed it into Leo's memory box under clown moments. Dad's voicemail came next. If that baby ever wants to know his grandfather, I'll be here. Just make sure he knows who helped build this family. So I posted a screenshot of every payment I'd made for them over 5 years. Deposits, loans, emergencies, favors. Caption, he'll know exactly who built what. Finally, I changed my number. Printed tiny cards with my new info and mailed them only to people who mattered. Under my number, I added, this line is no longer in service. Just like me. And for the first time ever, it felt true. Leo was 1 month old when I started hanging things in his nursery. Soft lights, pale walls, a tiny bookshelf already overflowing with gifts from strangers who somehow cared more than my own blood. On the far wall, I put a framed print that read, you were wanted, you were chosen, you were born from fire, and you'll never be fuel for it. That became my new compass. Meanwhile, my story kept spreading. The website I launched, clean, simple, told the whole saga in careful detail. No names, no faces, just truth. It had 3 sections: the timeline, the grant application for single moms, a page titled "Pet Parties Don't Replace People." At the bottom sat a picture of Whisker in his tiara with the caption, "No cats were harmed in this redemption arc, but a few egos were." People loved it. Then the local paper published the estrangement article. They used a public photo of Emily holding Whisker in a tiara. Tasteful, brutal, fair use. Mom called it character assassination. Dad threatened to sue. I posted a screenshot. "Still waiting. In the meantime, baby bump update tomorrow." The internet devoured it. But the real shift wasn't online. It was inside me. For the first time, I wasn't bracing for impact, wasn't trying to fix people who didn't want to be fixed, wasn't afraid of being called ungrateful or dramatic. I'd stopped performing daughterhood for people who'd never earned the title of parents. At night, when Leo slept against my chest, tiny breaths warm on my skin, I'd think, this is the first family I've ever had that doesn't demand pain as the price of love. And that, more than anything, kept me going. Peace didn't arrive softly. At first it felt unnatural, like a quiet house after years of alarms going off. But slowly, I realized the stillness wasn't a warning. It was the reward. By the time Leo was 2 months old, life felt strangely steady. Mornings were warm light through the curtains. Afternoons were tiny socks that vanished into thin air. Nights were soft breaths against my chest. No guilt trips, no accusations, no sudden financial emergencies. Just me and my son, learning each other without interruption. My story online settled into something gentler, too. People weren't treating it like drama anymore. It had become a gathering place. Strangers shared their own family fractures, their own cat birthday-level betrayals. A woman sent a crocheted lion hat for Leo with a note that said, "For the cub who broke the cycle." I kept it on his bookshelf. The Whisker Fund grew steadily. Every time I approved a grant for a single mom starting from scratch, it reminded me that something good had grown out of something rotten. A new lineage, made by choice instead of obligation. Meanwhile, my family kept flailing. Emily tried another teary video. The comments tore it apart. Mom emailed me, asking for forgiveness for the sake of tradition. Dad left a voicemail about keeping the roots alive, but roots don't matter when the soil is poison. One night, rocking Leo in the blue chair I built myself, he curled his tiny fingers around mine, and I felt something settle in my chest. A truth so simple I almost missed it. I wasn't waiting for them anymore, not for apologies, not for understanding, not for closure. I wasn't their audience or their excuse or their fallback plan. I was just his mother. They'd chosen a cat over a child. I chose a life that didn't revolve around performing daughterhood for people who never showed up. And the funniest part? Last night, Leo slept through the night for the first time, and for the first time in years, so did I.